Few people in the world, if you hear that I did something, that my wife would just pick the phone and say, I'm going to call this person. I will report you to him. I have very few people in the world. I think there are about maybe 5 or 6 of them. That my wife can pick the phone and say, I'll call them. And if they show up in the house and say, hey, Pastor Nosa, or whoever, whatever they call, they won't call me pastor because many of them, they will just call and say, Nosa, come here, sit down. What did they say you did? There are few people in this world. There are about 6 I know. There are about 6 of them. Some of them, interestingly, are my age mates. I think one of them is actually the same age as me. Yet, if you call him and say, call his name. I call his name every time here, actually. His name is Efe. If you call Efe and say, Kingsley said, did this. The guy will take off from the US, I can assure you. He will land here the next morning and say, Kingsley, what did you do? What did they say you did? So, I told you, I said, when we got married, we began to find out that we never fought in marriage. We have never fought. Me and my wife, she's not a good fighter. Pastor said so yesterday. So that's why I'm always very happy. After I've caused trouble, nobody's ready to fight me. I'll just walk away. I'm always free to do anything. She never fights. So we never had trouble fighting at all. Even when I choose to eat up all the food she made and she has no food to eat, she will still keep quiet. I've gotten her annoyed many times. And after I've done that, I will still escape. Maybe I bought a Ford Escape long ago before I knew it. So, but that was not our problem. We had other little problems, So we decided, you know what? Who are we going to talk to? Who do we go and see that will just talk to us like that, openly and freely? So we took off from Lagos and we went to Warri. So when we got to Warri, I think it was dinner we were eating. We didn't say immediately why we came home. But I think in the evening later, we now made a comment. We said something. We said, we think this thing is peppermint. And then the wife laughed. And then he made one comment. And then by the time we left there, we were better. Because they told us some things. They shared some things on the dining table. They didn't have to call for one special. As we were eating, the food was longer, of course, So they spent time saying a few things. And like I've always said, that's the respect I have had, for this family for a long time. Many people might not also know that the first job I worked, Schlumberger, was him. They actually recommended and said, you know what? Why not try this office? Try this company. Because he was working there at that time. So, brethren, he is not like, to many people, he could be tonight, a minister, a pastor, anything. I've always seen him as brother. So, whenever I call him Brother Philip, that's what I call him. The wife, we have been together. She's like my wife. They don't fight. But she has a sister that is like me. So you can imagine when they pair me and her sister together, we're a riot squad. And that was exactly the case in those days. When you pair her sister and me together and you tell us to face the bishop will run. That was exactly the case. So I've known her for years. So today, I want to believe that we're going to be hearing something fairly practical. Something fairly straightforward. By the way, he's a geomatic engineer. So those people are usually very practical. You know that. If you're not practical, the world would have been upside down. So he's going to talk to us very practically tonight. So we have him. Sister D, come forward. Come through this side. So let's put our hands together as she comes. Amen. You see, it's not a very big church where we can sneak in. Everybody will catch you. So tonight, I want to welcome my big brother. He's here and he's going to talk with us. So I will leave the stage for him. And I will let him do his thing. So brethren, let's put our hands together as we welcome Pastor Philip Eto. I did this deliberately for the computers. I realize everybody's using computer these days. So you can put this one. See, you can put this one here.
This on?
It's on. It's taking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. I'll try not to shout.
Okay. Then we can actually push the volume up.
Yeah, you can reduce the volume. My wife actually spoke to me before I came up. Nobody heard, but that please don't shout into the microphone. Because she knows that I can carry my voice. As Pastor Nusa was speaking, I was almost blushing, but black people don't blush. So I couldn't blush. Maybe we'll practice how to blush. I'd like to thank God for the privilege of coming here tonight. I have 45 minutes. By God's grace, we'll do justice to that in 45 minutes to share with us a few things like he said. And I'd like to thank the leadership of the church for this privilege. For me, it's a privilege to stand before God's people and share. So thank you very much for the invitation. And we're looking forward to a time together when we'll share from the Word of God, and we'll also sit when you begin to minister as well. So it's a great evening, and I'd like to congratulate you as a church for coming this far. 7 years is no joke, and when you know your history, how that the church started from the basement of a house, and you are here today, it is God. When you start as 2, and you become 4, and you become 8, and you are multiplying, God knows how far he's going to multiply you. So we just leave it in his hands. We're not working by very large numbers. And like Pastor Nusa said, there's a purpose of which God has called all of you here to be members of this church. I want to thank God for this privilege. So before I go much further, I'd like us to bow down our heads briefly and say a word of prayer.